Let's get down to business. A really, really quick bit here. I just found inspiration for it because it was kind of hilarious. So Spiral was really hilarious and disgusting. Trash. It was trash. I'm just going to tell you right now the score is 0 out of 10. It doesn't belong in the Saw franchise. I couldn't see who the killer was until like a second in. When I saw that, when you notice who it is when they're missing. Literally, when they're missing, you know who it is. To be quite honest, spoiler. I can't take Chris Rock seriously. Samuel L. Jackson is one of those actors who are really good at their job. He's really good at his job. He doesn't have to be the same character. He plays similar roles, but he does a good job doing that. The difference between Samuel L. Jackson, who plays very similar roles every time he's on the screen, and an Adam Sandler, for instance, is Adam Sandler cannot act Waterboy and Happy Gilmore. Those are the only two characters Adam Sandler has played that were actually different people. Everyone else is a mixture of jerk loser, scum loser that doesn't deserve love, happiness, or anything, is a jerk loser the entire time, learns nothing, and gets the girl 10 billion times out of his league. That's literally all Adam Sandler does. Samuel L. Jackson keeps getting called for the same roles, not because he can't do anything different, but because that's what y'all want from him. Literally, I can think of 30 different characters that still have an esque about himself. Adam Sandler, there's no esque. It's just the same character. Like that. That's why I broke it down for y'all to understand. Samuel L. Jackson was better in this role than anyone else. I couldn't take no one else seriously, especially the second worst Chris in Hollywood. First still goes to Chris Pratt. Second goes to Chris Rock. And I will not explain further. But I'm not here to talk about Adam Sandler. I'm here to talk about Spiral. Samuel L. Jackson's the only reason why I would ever give this a rating, a real decent rating that's not just 0. Because he's the only person I can take seriously. Everyone else seems to be like something fresh out of like a 1 semester of acting. It's crazy. And I'm not saying the Saw franchise is known for like the best acting or the best story. It's very well much known for the absurdity of it all, I was there the whole time, Puss in Boots, Humpty Dumpty situation. And I think that's the charm that comes with it. But when you talk about like, when someone is like from the Book of Saw, instead of just saying this is literally where it falls, like, you know what I mean? Like it could have been something that fell later. Like it's already established that this is a sequel to the entire series, basically, after John Kramer has died. And I'm not going to really talk about all of Saw in this video. I might just like here and there as it relates back to Spiral. But let me know in the comments if you would like me to do quick bits for each of the Saw movies. Not really my thing. I think it's a little too gory, even though I play Resident Evil. I don't know. I'm just not like, I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts about Saw. And if you want to hear them, let me know in the comments. But legitimately, Saw is very absurd. Saw is very much what is happening. You got to watch it like 6,000 times to actually understand what's actually happening, because me watching it a long time ago, watching Saw 1 and watching Saw 2, I didn't think it was that intricate. And once you understand the intricity of the franchise, whatnot, Saw gets better. You can watch people's videos on Saw and it just gets better than actually watching the movie by yourself. I would say it's scary. It's very gory. It's real to someone who doesn't know what things look like after they're busted up, broken, like, you know, like, it's just like, I'm not going to look that up. So it's like, I don't know, like, it's just gross to me. But to relate it back to the Book of Saw, like, literally going to separate it. It's so bad that you can't even say that it's like a part of it. Like I'm always going to bring it back to Code Veronica. It's very interesting that even like Resident Evil Code Veronica, they called it Resident Evil. They didn't say from the book of Resident Evil, from the timeline of Resident Evil. They didn't say from the memory of Resident Evil. It literally is like Resident Evil Code Veronica, which means, you know what, I do believe that it should be remade. And I'm going to keep talking about it. And we're going to keep talking about it. And someone argued with me, like, let's just sidebar. Someone argued with me on Twitter. I'm not arguing with people no more. I'm literally just blocking them like faster than a daddy. But arguing with me because I'm like, you know what? I really don't even think they're going to make Code Veronica remade because they're sick. They hate women. If you want to know my opinion about how Capcom treats women, link is on the playlist, the Resident Evil playlist. Please go there and navigate my playlist. They're very easy to navigate after this video. Arguing with me because I said they don't care about Resident Evil, Code Veronica. They're just going to keep going, go to the fifth one, even though the fifth one doesn't really need a remake. People, I will literally argue with y'all to the death. Like, we can talk about it. It doesn't need a remake. Resident Evil 4 didn't need a remake, but since it did get a remake, I like the remake, and I have a video on that too. But I feel like they're just going to make it like a DLC to like Resident Evil 4 if they do anything with it, especially since they have actually referenced Operation Javier, which is also something that was connected to the first retelling of Code Veronica, which was on Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles on the Wii. And that just makes me think that they are either going to do some DLC thing, and they're like, why would they do that? That doesn't even make any sense. And I'm like, there are really a lot of assets that you could use for Code Veronica, actually. So I'm not arguing with you, but if you do want to argue about that, please let me know. And I will make a live and we will talk about it because I am so serious. I'm not even the one that you need to argue with me. You need to argue with Capcom, argue with your mama, argue literally why you argue with me about this. Like, I want Code Veronica, and it's these people who really want Code Veronica too argue with me. Like, argue with Capcom, write a letter to your Congress or something. I don't know, like something. But let's get back to the topic at hand. Like I said, very absurd story, very absurd characters, terrible acting. And like I said, Saw isn't known for the best acting in the universe. It's not. But like I said, it's entertaining over a rewatch. I don't ever want to see freaking Spiral ever again. I never want to see Spiral ever again. Like I said, 0 out of 10. Like, I really, like, if they wanted us to take this seriously, they should have put some people in it that we would care about. Again, I do not take Chris Rock seriously under any circumstances, anytime, any place. I never take Chris Rock seriously. Every time I look at him, I see that freaking zebra from Madagascar. Chris Rock, who has played countless roles. You know what? Actually, Buddha Sack is another person that I think of when I hear Chris Rock from King of the Hill. He was Buddha Sack, and it was quite hilarious then, but that was a character. Another thing, that's another reason why almost every person in Hollywood's better than Adam Sandler. And I love Happy Gilmore. Waterboy was, no one can really be upset at music if you guys are going to accept Waterboy. I'm not here for those conversations. I'm here for the conversation of Goose Gander. Okay, I'm here for the people who are like, okay, yeah, Waterboy's bad, but people love to say, well, he was still a good actor. Let's talk about that then, but not here. The difference between Chris Rock and, let's just say, for instance, a Jack Black, who is a better actor than him, he can be different characters. Yeah, he's fat. Yeah, he's rolling around. Yeah, he's doing the same similar things in other movies, but I just feel like Nacho Libre is different than Poe. I feel like they're different. They're different characters. Chris Rock, every character sounds like that zebra. Every character sounds like that zebra. Marty, it's too much. And he really does bring down the movie. And if I had a lot of money, I would at least put myself in it. Like, M. Night Shyamalan has the right idea. He doesn't make himself a main character that requires him to carry the whole thing on his back. Like, what's that idiot's name? I think it's that dude that has to do with Family Guy, where he puts himself in literally like the main center stage, and people think it's funny because it's Anglo. It's not funny for real, which makes no sense. To be honest, I could name like 5 other people who would have been better for the position. Like, literally, I can barely take Will Smith seriously. And that was before he was playing games and being ridiculous. Like, before then, I couldn't really take him seriously, to be honest. But the difference between Chris Rock and Will Smith is Will Smith is a better actor than Chris Rock. So in the end, we all sit here and he's rich and famous and he had something to do, if not for him and his money, because he's a part of the executive producer or whatever he was doing, he's a part of it in some way. He put some currency up for this movie. Chris Rock, he should have took one look at the stuff himself and he should have said, all right, I'm going to do the mature thing and take myself out of the main character. He could have been the villain. Wouldn't that have been cool to have seen him? I kind of thought this in the end, because the way he was acting, which was really bad, especially when he was screaming in the car, and then also those crazy movements with the camera freaking shaking, that never occurred in Saw except when they were in traps. That didn't occur when they were just walking down the street. Okay? The traps, it was like dun, 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 dun. It was because there was tension. There's no tension in your freaking car. I mean, yeah, you don't know where your father is or whatever, whenever that happened. I'm kind of like, I'm over this movie. I'm never going to watch it again. It was bad. But they put that motion like they're in a trap outside. They did that because it was constricted. It was in a closed space. When we're outside, we don't need all that motion. Yes, they did some interesting things with the cinematography, like moving from room to room and it's a different place entirely, but that's cool. That's cool. I didn't really see that. I didn't see anything like that, but y'all love to do the callbacks. And the ending is so dumb. The reason why the villain, I don't even remember his name, so I'm not going to say his name because I don't remember. It didn't matter to me. The guy who's the killer, the real Saw killer, who was inspired by Saw. He was inspired and even talked about it. He didn't have to even say he was inspired. He didn't have to say that. We knew it was inspired because dude is dead. Dead in the ground. Like, he didn't have to say it. Another thing, there's too many things on the nose. But the ending is not earned. Like any other ending, I consider the Saw franchise to be a joke at this point. I consider the Saw franchise to be a joke at this point. It didn't start as a joke. It was, in fact, one of the scariest things. I was not afraid of Freddy Krueger. I was not afraid of Jason Voorhees. I was not afraid of Michael Myers. I was not even afraid of that girl, Kayako, from The Grudge. I wasn't afraid of nobody. Who I was afraid of was Jigsaw, because it's like, what on earth? What on earth? But as a child, that was what scared me. As I watched the movies, like, I still don't watch the gore because I'm just not interested in seeing all that unless it's in a video game, because I have a chance to do something about it and not just sit there and watch helplessly. The intricateness of it from the beginning was really cool. I loved how each movie was like a layer on top of the last movie. It kind of gave the Final Destination feel, but that only did that at the end of the series. So I'm just like, okay, what are you guys going to bring to the table? Because we all know that John Kramer's dead. Like, there was nothing y'all could have done with this spiral crap unless the dude we were coming to see this movie for, which was Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. I thought Samuel L. was the one. Literally, okay, this is how I went through it. This is how you know the movie's bad. You can still have different theories that are incorrect, but you can't have something that's so far out that no one could have guessed it. And that's literally what George R. R. Martin said. I think. I don't really follow him, but when Game of Thrones crap was going on, I really got invested in what he was saying at the time. Also, go to my channel. I have a video on Game of Thrones 2 years later, the anniversary of its downfall. But back to business. The ending was not earned. When you get to the end, I assumed that Samuel L. Jackson was the Saw killer. That's what I assumed. Then I thought it was Chris Rock for the rest of the movie. The beginning part of the movie. The moment the guy that was his partner goes missing, I knew he was the Jigsaw killer. I knew he was the Jigsaw killer. If there was no bone, or even if there was bone, it didn't have to be his. If there was anything other than a body found, and even then, his head could have been taken off. It could have been a different body. I knew it was his partner. I knew it was his partner. I didn't know why. And the end where it's because he knows they're dirty and he was a kid and he saw the dirtiness happen was not earned. We're supposed to understand, like, every Jigsaw, even the latest Jigsaw, this final chapter, not the final chapter, but Saw with that dude and that girl that kind of looks like that girl from American Horror Story, Moira, but she's not. I think she is, but I don't know. I really don't think so. She looks very similar to her though. But even in that crap fest, it was garbage. It was garbage too, but not as garbage as this one. This one's at the bottom row. Like, I may do a ranking of which the Saw ones, but literally even that one had, the answer is always right in front of you in Saw. From one to the last one, before this one, before Spiral, from the Book of Saw, there was always something we could have gotten it. The answer is always in front of us. It always is. Go back and watch those movies if you don't believe me. That was the cool thing about the movies. But this one, you could have never guessed why this fool decided to string this man up. You would have never have guessed. Of course, it was dirty cops, and that's a side subplot to the main one. There's dirty cops in the precinct because Jigsaw's calling them out. Then no one else other than someone, and then he has a trap inside the precinct or whatever. It had to be someone from the inside. Are you dumb? Like, overall terrible. A lot of mistakes were made. The biggest mistake that literally, if the main character was someone that was worth watching, it would have been nice. Hey, how about we get a woman survivor? We have yet to get any woman survivor. I'm not counting that girl that was the drug addict because she didn't survive. We have yet to get a woman survivor. Every survivor, and by survivor, I don't mean those Jigsaw survivors like the girl that got her arm cut off. I'm talking about survivor main character. Not survivor villain, not survivor side character. I mean survivor main character. First, she should have been a black woman. If Chris Rock, Mr. I cannot take him seriously, zebra, I don't understand why this role couldn't have gone to a black woman. This role should have gone to literally anybody else that I could have taken seriously. Then Samuel L. Jackson could have stayed. Literally just changed the fact that it's Chris Rock. Literally just some bum off the street could have filled that role and it would have been done better. Chris Rock, he's a good actor for what he does. He chooses his roles very strategically because he doesn't want to be laughed out of Hollywood. I can't see him in that role. We are in the timeline where Chris Rock took a role that he just was not made for, and it suffered greatly. Notice how freaking this Spiral movie just came and went. No one talked about how great it was. No one talked about how gory it was. No one talked about anything. The blood that was drained out. They even toned down the goriness because it's one thing to have blood stringing from you and it's just bleeding. It's another thing to see a gaping gash wound on someone. And I don't know. It's terrible. That was it. There's nothing much else to say about this crap. It's garbage.